All right, hello everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Iman Maghroori. I'm a master solution engineer here at Salesforce. And today I got a really good one for you. I'm going to show you how to customize Salesforce, the pages, how it looks. This is probably one of the ones I'm most excited for this month. Look, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being customers. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to want to learn a little bit more about Salesforce. I appreciate your time. I respect your time. And I hope today, I know there's going to be a good use of your time. So look, if speaking of our time together, how are we gonna spend it? First, I'm just gonna explain it really quickly. Most of the time, I'm gonna be doing a demo, and then I'll give you access to a demo environment where you can see a bunch of pre-configured pages that I've made, so you can kind of get ideas for things that you can do, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. Now, look, let me just give you all some tips for a good time, and I mean these, okay? Especially for today, do not click along with me. Don't even try to click along with me. Take your hand off the mouse, stick it in your pocket. After this webinar, I know I'm going to get a survey result that goes, Iman went so fast. I was trying to do it and he was somewhere else. And that's what's going to happen. I am going to sprint. This is the Usain Bolt of webinars today. And please don't try to keep up with me. That is not what this is. I want you to sit back and prepare to drink from the fire hose and more or less be excited about what I'm going to show you, but do not do it while I'm doing it. I cannot be more clear. All right. And anytime you got questions, put them in the sidebar somewhere on the page. Right now, there is a floating GoToWebinar sidebar. Open it up, find the question section, clickety-clack your question in there, hit enter, and Crystal, who's my co-pilot for today's webinar, will take your question and shoot it at me at the bottom of the hour. In that same sidebar, there's a handout section. There you can find this presentation and all the links in it. You can download it right now. Or do nothing, wake up tomorrow morning with an automated email of the recording and the handout just sent to you, okay? And if you have questions about this stuff, you can always get a hold of us, not just in today's webinar, but on our community group. So if you just take your iPhone out, turn on the camera and kind of point it at the screen so we can see that QR code in the bottom there, it'll automatically open the page and take you to it. Makes it really easy. So do that. All I ask though is just please fill out a survey. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if I went way too fast. But I have tweaked this content specifically because of the feedback I got last time. So I would just like to keep hearing from everybody. It's great. All right, and last but definitely not least, I got to sit through this webinar. So can we try to have a good time, please? All right. So customizing your pages. I'm basically going to introduce the moving parts and how it works. So first of all, you should just know, just from let's just say a spiritual perspective, we want you to customize Salesforce. That is what we think you should do. None of you should just take Salesforce, turn it on, and start using it. That's not how you get value out of our platform. The whole point of Salesforce is that your business is different than the other person on here. And I think we have about 180 people on here. None of you do the same things, right? I have a customer that manufactures cosmetic products. I have another customer that sells golfing equipment, right? You're not tracking the same things. If you're a financial services customer or a healthcare customer, you want different things, right? And not just as companies, but think about each of your employees, the types of employees. Should your salesperson see what the support person sees? Should the sales manager have access to more information? Should the pages look different? So we can help you change the experience inside Salesforce, right? And the whole idea with doing that is that you can make everything more relevant and cut out all the clutter. If I'm scrolling past a bunch of stuff I don't care about, get rid of that entirely. Why make me scroll past it and get it in my head that Salesforce has a bunch of useless garbage in there? Just don't show it to me, right? And just keep the clutter at a minimum and find a way to highlight what's most important based on the task and the person trying to accomplish it. And you can even bring in information from all over different places in Salesforce to minimize clicks. If I'm on a contact record, why do I have to leave the contact, go to the account, go find opportunities when I can just put everything all on one screen, okay? So today we're gonna talk about how you can change the fields and who they're displayed for, change the layouts, components, tabs, everything. And the whole point is that each and every one of you should be doing this so that you have a really custom tailored experience, all right? So what am I talking about? Well, you can change the structure of your pages. Just look at this page. Don't bother reading any of the text. None of it matters, but just look at the blocks. Where are these big blocks? Okay, where are the Lego blocks? Okay, it could look like this, or it could look like that, or it could look very different, right? You can add blocks, remove blocks, put something on the left, put it on the right, put it underneath something. So the very structure of the page can be different, okay? You can change the default columns that show up on your tabs. You can change the columns that show up when you search. You can change what shows up when you hover over a record and that little pop-up thing pops up and all that related information. You can change that. You can change what fields show up when you are in a lookup field and you're like looking for the right account to link this record to. How do you know which account you're looking for? You can change home pages. You can change Outlook and Gmail sidebar. So when your reps are in Outlook or in Gmail, they can have different configured components in their sidebars. And all of these pages I'm talking about, you can have them be dynamic, show something or not based on who are you, based on what they're looking at. Okay, so for example, if you're a rep with 30 days of experience or less, I'm gonna put a whole bunch of help bubbles there for you, okay? And maybe have less stuff on the page. If you're a tenured rep and you've been here 5 years, you're gonna see everything and no help bubbles because I don't need to annoy you, you know what's up, okay? And that whole experience is just point and click configurable. So when we're talking about all this, how does all this happen? Every one of these are just layouts. There are many different types of layouts, but they're all point and click. They're all drag and drop. You don't need a computer science degree. You just need to know which layout to modify. And the layouts can control multiple things. So the complexity here isn't doing it, it's just knowing which one to modify, okay? And they're all kind of in the same spot. So if you want to modify the contact page layout or pages or search results or tabs, just go to the contact object and all those little arrows there, those are all the places where all the layouts hide, okay? And so those are the ones you're gonna wanna get used to, and that's what we're gonna go through today. Now, I just wanna make this part clear, because when I say a page and the layout, I'm gonna use those terms a lot and they can get a little confusing. So let me try to zoom out a little. We have lightning pages. Lightning pages are the structure of the page itself. You know, how many columns are there? Will there be a chatter feed on the page at all or not? Will it be on the right or the left, underneath something or above something? That's the lightning page, okay? Page layouts will control exactly which fields show up on a record, where the fields are, what buttons, which related lists, what columns in the related list. So if you're trying to configure fields, where the fields are, what order the fields are in, or think of it as more like detail, that's the page layout. If you're trying to decide, should it be on the left, the right, the top, or the bottom, that's the lightning page, okay? And the lightning page is all configured through the app builder. There's a feature in Salesforce we call the app builder, and that's where you point and click and drag these components onto these pages. That's what this is. We're gonna spend some time here today. The page layout editor, that's where you drag and drop individual fields onto the screen and say, I'm gonna put the phone number below the email address, on the right, on the left, etc. Some of these layouts we talk about are global. You change the compact layout, it changes the compact layout for everyone. We'll talk about what it is. Some of these, though, can be personalized. So like the page layouts, the lightning pages, the home pages, Outlook, Gmail, those you can say Crystal's experience is different than Iman's. Managers are different than reps. Sales is different than support, okay? And for that to work, you need to assign the layout to the right person, because that's how it works. So if you made a change and the change doesn't look like it did anything, you probably didn't assign it to yourself or to the right people, okay? So just a quick tip, if you move a field around or you delete it, it's still there, you probably just didn't assign it to yourself. You are looking at the wrong version of the layout, okay? All right, so that's all the slides I got. I'm pretty much just gonna do all of this with you because I think it's better shown than it is live than it is just through slides. All right, so here we go. I'm in Salesforce. I'm gonna go to my contact object and we're gonna start modifying layouts here, okay? So I'm gonna open up setup And again, I'm going to go fast, so please don't do this with me. Instead of opening up setup, I'm going to go straight to the object. Okay, I'm going to go to the object manager, and I'm going to go to the contact object. If you want to do this for opportunities, it's all the same, but just look for opportunities. If you want to do this for leads, just go to leads. But this part is going to be the same. Okay, so let's go to page layouts. And I could just modify an existing one, okay, or I could create a new one. But let's just tweak an existing one. So I'm going to look at a contact. Here's Lauren. This is Lauren's page layout right here, okay? Phone number, mobile, lead source, right? So remember that, phone number, mobile, lead source. So when you look at the page layout, what do we see on the right? Phone number, mobile, and lead source. See that? Right? Now, if I move lead source up above the phone number and I save the layout and I refresh this page, should just take a second here. Notice lead source is up higher, okay? And there's a lot of interesting things you can do here. Like, for example, you can just add blank spaces if you want to line up some fields to each other, right? So here I'm going to maybe lower some fields down. You can add sections to a page layout. So here I'll call it doing it live. You might want to call it, I'll do something else. You might want to call it like contact info, okay? And is it one column in this section or two columns? All right, we'll say two columns. Is this section header going to be available when you're editing the record or just when you're looking at the record or both? Okay. And so here I've got a contact info section. So I'll put their email, their phone, their mobile right here, and maybe their mailing address, right? Why not? There we go. And maybe I'll put the mailing address on the right. Okay. And so that's how you manipulate the page layout. And if I come down here, you'll notice there are related lists. So if you look at the top, this is where all of your fields are available. These are all the fields that you have available. And if I drop the account address field in here, if I drop it in here, you'll notice that it grays out because it's on the page. And if I want to remove it, I can remove it. Okay. If you want to add buttons, or if you want to add actions, or if you want to add related lists, you got to kind of go to the right section of this little toolbox up here. So if we go to the related lists, these are all the related lists that all the other objects, all the other records that somehow relate to contacts in my demo environment. I have a million things in here. You're not going to have nearly this many. But here are all the lists that could show up on a contact record. And you can remove one entirely, or you can customize the columns that show up on that related list. So if I'm on a contact record and I'm looking at that contact's support tickets, what fields should I see? What fields should I see when I'm looking at that contact's case? Maybe I should see the case number. Maybe I should see the date it's open, the status, the priority. And you know what? Maybe what product was broken. What product was it related to? There we go. And do we want to sort this list? Sure, let's sort it by date descending. So show me the newest cases first, last cases last. Okay, hit OK. So that's how you modify the page layout. I'm going to save that. And if I go to the page layout section, you'll notice that I can assign these page layouts to different people. So I can change which layout is assigned to which profile user, okay? And it's not just the layout by profile, but it's by type of contact. You can have record types. So you can have different types of accounts, different types of leads, projects, orders, whatever. And based on the type of record, and based on the profile that you have, you will get a different layout, right? So if I'm looking at a partner contact, maybe we have a reseller, we should use different layouts for them. There are different fields we want to track than a customer contact, right? So that's how you assign layouts. So I just made the change. I'm going to refresh the page, and the next time you refresh the page, you'll see that the page layout's been updated. And notice the contact info now is all right here, right? See that? And notice I have some blank spaces, okay? So that's how the page layout works. The page layout modifies which fields are here, what little sections do you have, are the sections hidden or not? That's the page layout. Let's go to the next section, lightning record pages, right? I'm just gonna create a brand new one. I could have right from this page just edited the page. Okay, and when you do that, it will take you to the page you're on right now, the lightning record page that you're on, and you can modify the layout here. So for example, I've got this cool next best action feature, but maybe you don't want to see it for this webinar. I'm just gonna take it off, right? Maybe we want to put the chatter feed on the right. Maybe we want to put on the left, right? That's what we do here. And I hit save. And when we go back, and we're gonna spend more time in the Lightning App Builder in a second. When I go back, you'll notice the page just looks different. Okay, so let's build the Lightning App page from scratch real quick. New page. So when you build a new page, it's gonna ask you, is this just some random tab you wanna build? You just wanna build a random page and put it somewhere? And these pages would show up on mobile, they'd show up in any app in Salesforce you want, the sales app, service app. Do you want to make a home page? Are you trying to make a home page? Because there are different components available for home pages. Are you trying to make this page for your email sidebar? Okay, or is it for a record? Is it for an account, a contact, a lead? I'm going to do this for a contact. Great. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it Doing It Live. And we'll which record? We're going to do contacts. All right. So this is my new contact page. And now we're going to pick just the overall structure of the page. You're going to pick a template. It's okay, you can always change it later, but you're going to pick a template. And the idea here is it one column? Is it multiple columns? Is there a header? Is there not a header? And I'm just waiting for it to load. My demo environment has some unique complexities behind the scenes. So this page takes forever to load in my demo, but it should be much quicker for you. Let's give it a second. Well, it doesn't. All right, I'll just use this. I don't know why my templates aren't loading, but the idea here is you can pick different layouts. See here, for example, left column, middle column, right column, or do you want a header and a big left chunk and a small right chunk, okay? And that same layout on desktop will resize itself to look good on mobile, and you'll kind of see the order of how those sections will reorient themselves, okay? So I'm just gonna pick, I don't know, let's just pick this one. Why not? So now I've got a page template, and this is the thing we're now going to actually use to create our page. All right. So we've got some sections in here. We've got a left section, a middle section, and a right section. And it tries to give you what it thinks you want. Okay. But I'm going to delete all this stuff, and we're going to build it completely from scratch. All right. Completely empty page. There's nothing on here. Okay. So I'm going to do a record detail. This record detail, this is the fields. These are the page layouts we modified last time, okay? And I could put the whole thing on the right, put the whole thing on the left. I don't even have to put on the page if you don't want, okay? Most of you, most of the time, are probably going to use this tab component, okay? And this allows you to have many tabs on your page, and you can name them whatever you want. We give you some names of what we see pretty commonly that you can just use, or just type whatever you want in here. So I'm going to call it, I don't know, info, okay? And I'll call the other one, let's say activity, okay? Maybe we'll have another tab, and I'll just put there, let's say customer support stuff here. So I'll say support, okay? And you can have as many tabs you want, and you can reorder them. It's just point and click. So now that I've got my tabs, let's put the record detail right in info. Under activity, I might want to put their activity history, so I'll put that over here. Under support, I might want to put a related list, okay? So really the whole thing about the Lightning App Builder is just learning what these components are, and there are many of them, but it's about just knowing what these components are and putting them where you want, okay? So do you want to show potential duplicate contacts? Do you want on the right? Do you want on the left? Do you want it in the support tab? That's how every single component can be designed, okay? And I'm going to show you a few that you may not know about that I think are really powerful. So yeah, you can put really anything, anywhere, and I'm going to stop harping on that, but here's a few that I think you should think about. The first one is, sorry, I got to find it here. Related list single. So this is if you want to put a single related list somewhere. Okay, and what's really nice about this is you can say, use this contact, look at this contact record, and get me their list of cases, and just put it here in the support tab. I don't need all my related lists, I just want my cases here, right? And that's a really nice way to put relevant related records together in different places, right? So that's one thing. But the related list single can also go up the relationship of the record you're on. So it can go from the contact you're looking at up to, let's say, the account, and then go get a related list from the account. So for example, here I'm showing just this person's support tickets. Here I'm saying, go to this person's account and get me the list of support tickets off the account, okay? So think about how nice that is. You could be looking at a contact and say, show me all of the things they've ever bought, orders, invoices, projects at the account level, right? What's nice about this is you don't have to go up to the account, click a link to go back down and look at some other case. You can do that all from right here, okay? So that's the related list single, okay? The other one is this related record component. This is really powerful. So if I'm looking at a contact, do you just want to show a quick high-level little card of that contact? You can show that here. So you can show the record you're looking at. Or you can traverse that relationship again and show, let's say, the account record. So you can actually have the account record itself display right here. And you can actually edit and modify fields there. So if you're looking at a record and you want to look at related records to it, you can just put them right here. It highlights that information. You can edit it here. It's a nice way to do see things from the parent record and other ancillary records without having to do a lot of clicking. Okay, those two I think all of you should have on some pages somewhere, on a contact, on an opportunity, on a case. Saves you a lot of clicks. Okay. The last big thing, you're just going to have to learn all of these little components. I mean, just drag it on the page and see what it does, you know, and then get rid of it. It's not a lot. It's not going to be really confusing, but just play with it, like experience it, understand it. The more you fiddle with it, the better you're going to feel. Okay. And then you can, the one last bit here is component visibility. So you can say things like only show this component if the account type is, you know, enterprise, right? Only show this component if the user that's looking at this record, has a title of sales rep or has a start date of last 10 days or something like that. So you can have a different component show up, or you can have things show up or not show up at all based on what we know about the record or what we know about the user, okay? And that just makes it really nice to have one layout, but still be dynamic. So if you wanted to do something like, hey, this customer has some kind of special notification going on. We need to handle them with care. You can put a little indicator right there on your page, put an image right there on the page and have it only show up when it's a special notice. Okay, so really simple ways to do that. And I think the last component I want to draw your attention to before I completely move on from this is the report chart component. You can really easily drop reports and graphs into your pages. Let me just do one here, pipeline. Okay, and what this will do is this will, let me find a different one. Oh, I'm having a hard time finding a report with good data. Let's see. There we go. So you can put a report in here, and what you can do is, if that report is of the right type, you can have it filtered down for just that record. So you can say, for example, just show me the deals or the pipeline on this account. Just show me the product mix on this deal. Just show me, you know, and so you can have reports and graphs without needing to have a developer do that for you. Okay. And when you're done and you're ready to use this page, you save it, but then you need to assign it to people, right? And you can make it the default for everybody. You can make it the default for just an app. So it looks like that when you're in the sales app versus the service app versus the marketing app. It's all Salesforce, but maybe you're doing something differently in that app, so you'll want the layout to be different, okay? Or you might want to do it by app, by profile, and by record type. That's the most specific way to do it, okay? So just, you know, we could say by app default. And anyone in the sales app is going to see this layout, okay? I'm going to hit cancel. I'm just not going to worry about this page. We're going to hit save, but I'm not going to worry about turning it on. So that's how these pages work, component-wise. And if you want to play around with it, you can actually view it in desktop or mobile view if you enable those features, okay? All right, let's go back. The few other ones here that are important, that's where you're going to be spending most of your time. Page layouts and Lightning record pages. Compact layouts, what these are what fields show up and in what order do they show up when you do a hover, okay? Or when you're looking at like a small mini version of the record. So if I add, for example, let's say birth date, I'm just going to add birth date and I'm going to move it way up. So it's going to be name, birth date, and then phone number, just for argument's sake. Okay. So now if I go to an account record and I've got my list of contacts and I want to hover over them, I'll now see the name, the birth date, the phone number. So if you want to change this little hover, that's how you do that. It's the compact layout. Okay. Anywhere where you see a mini version of the record, notice the highlight panel uses that same compact layout. Okay. Now the compact layouts, you do not, nope, you can't assign them. Okay, so compact layout. Then let's go to search layouts. Search layouts do a lot of things. So I'm going to edit the search layout. And here I'm just going to, let's say, remove the assistant field, and I'm going to go name, email, title. Okay, name, email, title, and I'm going to hit save. When you do that, what that changes is when you go to the contacts tab, the default tabs that show up in the recently viewed, that's how you change that, name, email, title. And then if I search for contacts, like I'm searching for Lauren, and notice here, name, email, title. And then when you filter into contacts, notice name, email, title. All of these are driven by this search layout section. So if I come in here and I change it, it's not name, email, title, it's name, title, okay, or whatever. And I refresh my search page. Name, title. See that? And again, it also updates in the sidebar when you do a filter. Okay. And again, when I go to the tab, you'll notice it there as well. Okay. Let's see here. What else? Now, search layouts classic. If you're still using classic, I urge you to move to Lightning. Lightning just uses basically this one layout to do what all of pretty much what all of these do in classic. In classic, you would finely tune all these different layouts, but most people wouldn't really use it too much. Now the search layout kind of rules them all. Okay. Oh, one more place the search layout comes in play. Let me find a record here. It's in the lookup box. So if you were to go to like a case record, for example, and you want to link a case to a contact, and you're looking in the lookup area, and I'm going to search for, let's say, Lauren, it controls the columns here as well. Okay, so that search layout does a lot. Okay, for those of you in Lightning, the only real reason you come to this for classic Salesforce section is this part right here, the list view layout. And here you can add and remove custom buttons. Okay, so here I've got a button that I just made up, a custom button, and you can add some other actions here. And when you do that, okay, what that controls is which buttons and which actions can show up on your list views. Okay, so if you want to have mass actions performed, update the status of a lot of things from the list view, that's where you do it. I know it's weird that it says for classic, and that's literally this little buttons displayed section is the only thing that still updates the Lightning layout there. Okay. All right, so those are the layouts. That's what they do. It's just about getting comfortable and really tweaking it for yourself. If you want to play with a demo environment where I've done a lot of this already and I've made a lot of examples, you're welcome to log into the EDO for everybody's demo org. And you'll see, for example, like my accounts that I've created for you. I'll just show you an example here. When you log in, I've got a header. I've got all my account details, and you can see some fields and visual indicators. Okay. I've got my contacts and some Einstein components. I've got my opportunities and an embedded report chart. I've got my service contracts or my service cases, all the things that have to do with support here, and maybe some chart on how that's going. Okay. And then on the right, notice I've embedded a video. I've embedded some help text and links. I've got some tabs that show up, and I've embedded maps. So if you just want to see the kind of the world, the art of the possible, that's what I have here. And this isn't even highly customized. There's no custom code that I'm really doing here to make the whole page crazy. That video is probably the only thing that's really unique. Everything else on here is pretty point and click and standard for you. Okay, so you can log into the demo environment, get ideas of different page layouts, different list views, how I think things might look good for you. So something to check out. Okay. And if you need help with any of this stuff, there's no shame in it. We've got a partner, Wiser Spread, that'll give you 2 hours of free consulting if you say Iman sent me. So let Noam know that I sent you his way, and you'll get 2 hours of free consulting. Here are some specific things I recommend you look into if you want to learn more about it. You know, how to create custom fields, how to use that Lightning app builder, how to change these different layouts. This is really more where you're going to go for those little details. Okay. And if you got questions for us outside of this event, scan that code and ask us there. But I'm going to stop right on time, I might say. I might add. Crystal, any questions? I can't hear you. Have I been doing this webinar in a vacuum for 30 minutes? Are you there, Crystal? Is it me? I can't hear you at all, Crystal. Are you speaking? Hello? All right, that's a little weird. Would anyone mind going into the chat or the handouts and let me know if you can at least hear me? I'm not getting a lot of. Okay, everyone can hear me. That's good, but no one can hear Crystal? Okay, all right. I'm gonna go through the questions until we hear back. All right. Amy, I appreciate the support. Crystal, let's see. Can the field label be highlighted with coloring bold or underlined? Okay, so can you take a field? Crystal, I hope you're okay. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna keep my cell phone handy. If you want to call me, maybe you can call me and I'll unmute you here or something, and people can hear you this way rather than that way if that's a problem. I don't know what's going on. So can you take this field and highlight the name here? Nope, unfortunately no. Not without a custom component where you basically make it do that. No. Good question though. All right. Each change to a field, do you need to assign to a profile? If you make a global change, does it make changes to all profiles? Amy, I'm not sure what you mean there. If you could provide a little bit more context. Sorry, guys, I normally have Crystal read the question out loud. Now I'm reading all of them to myself and to you at the same time. So I'm not sure what you mean there, Amy. If you could provide a little bit more color, I'd appreciate it. What would be a good way to display the progress of an account through the sales process? Okay. So if you've got a process, there's a feature called path. And this question is from, I'm not following my own best practice, Tom. So Tom, there's a feature called path, this component right here, okay? And as things progress through different stages, you can mark that stage complete, or that's the stage you're at, and you can even highlight what fields people should be updating on that stage and provide some text for them to have some guidance while they're at that stage. And you can have paths on leads, accounts, cases, contacts, you name it. Really all this path feature is it takes some drop-down value, some drop-down field, usually it's stage or status, and it turns each of those pick list values into a little chevron on that path. And then you can say, if I'm on step 2, show these fields and show this text. And it can be different for each step of the way through here. Here's Crystal. Hi, Crystal.
Hey, sorry about that. For some reason, when I try to unmute my line, it says that too many people are already unmuted and the webinar won't let me.
Weird. But you got the questions for me? We'll just keep going.
Okay, yeah. So where did you leave off?
I just read Tom's question about what would be a good way to display the progress of an account.
Okay, great. Okay. All right, next one up is from Pay. Does the highlight related record information come from the compact layout?
Does this highlight this? So this piece right here, is this a little highlight panel? Yes, this comes from the compact layout. So if you're on an opportunity and you want these fields to be different, we'll do it together. I'm going to hit edit. Oh, not edit page. That was the wrong thing to edit. I'm gonna go to the object and I'm gonna edit the compact layout, and these fields will change. I'll do it really quickly. It's super simple. Compact layout, my opportunity layout. And I don't know, I'll move amount up and I'll get rid of, let's say, these fields. There you go, see? Real simple, just 2 fields now. Or I can go back in and I don't know, make this look real crazy. I'm gonna pick 10 fields at random. Don't do what I'm doing. And then refresh the page. There you go. Those were not good fields to add at random. All right, what else?
Okay, this one's from Anne. She says, I want one profile to have a different layout of buttons actions on the mobile app versus the desktop. She says, I can see how to build different Lightning App Builder pages for mobile versus desktop, but you can only assign one page layout that determines the buttons. Is there a workaround to get different buttons actions by format?
So buttons, no, but actions, yes. So you can drop this actions and recommendations component onto a page. And you can put the actions, well, that's not quite the same. Which action is on the page has to do with the page layout. The page layout is only based on who you are and the record type you're looking at. The page itself, the Lightning record page, that can be different based on form factor. But actions, let me think about this one. Don't think so. Flows, yes. The actual actions here, no. So there are ways to have different executable things users can do on mobile versus desktop, but it's not using the same quick action button, no. So short answer, no.
All right. Mike is wondering, could you go over that mass option, the mass change option again? I think maybe, was it in your demonstration, you was talking about kind of the mass change option?
Okay, all right. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. So when you go to a list view, list views, you can do a couple things. I hope this is what you're thinking about. So if you pick a list view, you can edit fields right from the list view, right? So I can come in here and say, I'm going to change these 4 records to a different stage, for example, or a different date. You could just update multiple records at once. And as a part of that, you can use actions on list views as well. So when you look at a list view, you can check these off. And instead of just editing the fields directly, you can use these custom actions to update or change those. That was not a good action to use. That was a fake action I created a minute ago. You can use this action to mass update these 3 or 5 or 10 records at once. Okay. So you could use actions on the list view, and the way this is controlled is through search layouts for classic, list view, and then the buttons displayed. And that's what determines which actions and which buttons show up in the list view for mass update.
Okay. Rashawn is asking, in the demo instance, there are some quick links on the home page. How are those set up? Can I provide links to a link to a report there and also pass some parameters into that report, similar to like a report chart?
So yes and no. All right, so homepage. The homepage, how did I add the links? All right, so there is a component called rich text. You saw me show it to you a little bit earlier, but here you can just, type stuff. And you can make it bold or bullet pointed, and you can add a link. So here's my link, and it's a link to Google. Or, if you want to pass parameters in there, google.com. Here, I'll just show you an example. Hello. Notice in the URL, search source, you see all these little things here, and it looks like Q hello. It looks like that's how you do it, Q hello. All right, so I'll try this. Question mark Q equals hello. I bet that link will work. Let's try that. Hit save. Go back. So you can put parameters and URLs, and you click them. There you go. Hello. It'll work. Today, Lightning does not let you embed parameters in the URL and let it do something very different, really. In the next release, you're going to have that ability. For right now, it's not there. In like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it will be. Otherwise, you're just linking to a specific record. If you want to go straight to this report or this dashboard, just copy it and they'll go right to that page. But for today, parameters can't like feed search criteria into a report, for example. No, not yet.
All right. Rashawn is asking, what's the difference between a compact layout and a mini page layout?
I knew someone was going to ask. So compact layouts are pretty much what most of you are going to be manipulating most of the time. And compact layouts are what's going to show up in little hovers, right? So if I'm looking at a contact and I hover over their name, that's the compact layout. When I go to that record and there's a little highlight panel, that's the compact layout. On the mobile device, you might see a smaller card view of records. That's the compact layout. So the compact layout is what you're going to be using most of the time. The mini page layout is something that was used in the classic console within Salesforce. I don't anticipate most of you needing the mini layout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brittany's asking, what layout drives the fields displayed on the related record in the Lightning page?
Okay. So if you're on a related list, like let me find one here that has some data. Let me find a record that has good data. Here we go. So if you've got a list of contacts and you've got name, title, phone, how are these lists made up? Well, you go to the page layout. You go to whichever page layout you've assigned for that record type and that user. You will have this page load. I'm okay with awkward silence. Okay. All right, so you have the page load, and then you go down to the bottom and you find that related list. So I had one for, contact roles, for example, and you can just you can edit that related list and change the fields that are available. So that's where you can do that. So page layout, related lists, that's how you do that.
Okay. Amy's asking, can you create mandatory fields?
Sure. There's two ways to make them mandatory. When you create a brand new field, and I'm gonna, who was this? Amy, you said Amy, right? So
yes.
All right, so Amy, I'm gonna create a field and I'm gonna call this field Amy's field. Okay, and it's 50 characters long and it's required. See that? When I created this field, I made this field required. Now, if I were to go through this, I could not create or save any record unless there's a value in Amy's field. This is a database level requirement. Doesn't matter if it comes through an integration, doesn't matter where they try to create it or do it. This will throw an error if Amy's field is not filled out, because at the field level, it's required. Okay, that's one way to do it. The other way is to take a page layout and go, this field is not required from the API. This field is not required through integrations. But when you are on this page and you are using this page, this field's required. This form requires this field. Okay. Or you can make it read only. You could do one or the other or neither. So you can make fields read only on the page layout. But this does not impact the underlying security structure of Salesforce. If I make it read only on the page, it doesn't mean it's read only at the profile level. That user could find some other way to edit that record and we would let them do it. But it's just saying when you're looking on the page, this form won't let you quickly edit it here. Okay, so it's not a permission as much as it is a form requirement. And that being said, required is required all the time. You just open the deal, required. You're closing the deal, still required. Okay. Instead of making everything required all the time, look into validation rules. So you can create a rule, and I have a whole webinar on this, so I'm not going to try to go super deep here. But you can create a validation rule and call Amy's rule, and you can say something like, if the discount, or if the close date is this month, or if the status is in negotiation, then I need this field populated, right? So validation rules are how you can decide conditionally when a field is required or not, and what values are acceptable. These numbers have to be less than 10,000, or these numbers have to all be positive or negative. You do all of that with validation rules. And validation rules work at the database level, regardless of what's going on with your page. Okay, so there's field level requirements, there's page level requirements, and then there's validation rules.
Nice. I just posted the link to the recording in the chat.
Good teamwork. Okay, all right, what else?
Okay, so I'm not sure if you covered this already, but Chris was asking, can the field label be highlighted with coloring, bold, underline, etc.?
Yep, short answer, no. Not unless you build a custom component, in which case it's you do an HTML development and make it look like whatever you like. But nope, doesn't do that, not by default.
Okay, all right, and it's kind of a similar, it says if my record isn't a lost account, this is from Chris, if my record is a lost account, can I make the page dim or change colors?
No, again, not by default, but you can put some big visual indicators all over the page or completely remove stuff or, so for example, look at this page. I have guides on the videos, components. I've got this little activity indicator, okay? And if I turn off the guide and I refresh the page, you'll notice now that the page is much cleaner, much simpler, okay? But see this little visual indicator here? You could do a rich text component and put an image in there and have a big gray bar or whatever you like. You could put on the side, you could put across the top, and that would help. That could do it. I have one here. This is how we do it here. I've got where am I doing it? I'm doing it in the in this demo environment somewhere. Let me just find an example of something like that for you. Not the right example. Sorry, I'm looking for an example here. Here we go. No, not here. Was it in products? Maybe it's in products. No, sorry, I can't see where I did it. One other thing you can look at is there's an App Exchange app for alerts, okay? And a lot of people ask about this concept, so I'll just bring it up now. Some are free, some are paid for, some work a little differently, but this one, let's go to components, alert message on any object, for example. So this is a free app. And what you can do is based on criteria that you put in, you can have different alerts pop up on the record and, show a message. So you can put images, you can put pop-up alerts. And if you really want to do like a modal dialogue popping up or something popping up over the screen and being like a layer, that is possible, but it requires custom code. And I don't think that's worth it for what you're going for. I would just do one of these point and click or apps. That's what I would do.
All right. So Emily is asking about MPSP. So she says my MPSP contact compact layout fields seem to revert back to default overnight after I make changes. She's saying her consultant says she hasn't heard of this, but that it might be a known bug. Wanted to know if you'd heard anything or if maybe something's happening, like another system admin is changing her values or something.
Okay, so I'm not aware of anything that just reverts. Nothing just reverts, and definitely nothing just reverts at midnight. That's not like a setting in Salesforce where, oh, you made changes, we just blow them away for no like we're not doing that. So it's either a bug, okay, or take a look at your recently updated setup audit trail. There's actually an audit trail. Check this out. Setup audit trail. Download that. And it'll show you exactly who made changes to what layouts and when, okay, for the last like 6 months or 3 months or something. So this can come in here, 6 months, here you go. So download that and you'll know if some other admin is doing stuff, okay? The other thing though, is you might have just not, let's go to the compact layout. And notice here, there are many layouts. Make sure that you're assigning it to the right record type. So each record type can have a layout, a compact layout. So maybe you're not assigning it to yourself, but if it really is there and then it's reverted, either somebody else is doing it or it's a bug.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Rashana is asking, what is the expanded lookup under page layout?
Under page layout? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Expanded lookup.
I don't know what you're, if you could be more specific.
Yeah. Okay, I can ask her.
Yeah.
Okay, Ash is asking, where did the drop down on the path come from?
Okay, so I've got a field on my account, and I'm going to create it right now. Who's asking this question again, Crystal?
This is Ash, yeah.
All right, so Ash. So I'm going to create a field called Ash, and I'm going to add values A, B, almost done, done, post. Okay, there you go, hit save. So could be anything, any pick list value at all. Okay, and I'm just going to hit next and hit save. So now I've got a pick list, any pick list, any values. All right, now I'm going to search for a path, and I'm going to create a new path, and I'm going to create a new one. And in my demo environment, again, this page, for some reason for me, takes forever to load in this demo. So I'm just going to let it hang here, and I'll tackle the next question, and then this page will load in 2 minutes, and then we'll come back. So Crystal, what's the next question? I'll come back to this.
Yeah, a little more information here from Mike. He was saying, he was asking about the mass change. He was asking about, the example would be the mass change account owner. So like how to mass change the account owner.
Okay. So again, if you want to change account owners, for example, you would go to the account tab and you want different options here, right? So what you would do is go to the object for the account. You would go to the classic layout. You go to this little list view of buttons available. And then whatever options are available here are the ones that you can add to the tabs. And you can either create your own buttons or actions. Some objects let you reassign from an account or from a list view, some don't. Don't believe accounts can be reassigned from the list view, but I'll refresh this page. And you'll notice now I've got a few more actions here that I could take on all of my accounts. And what I'll do one with cases. The cases tab does let you change owners, and that is an action. Not every tab has all of the same features. There's some differences between some objects, but notice there's like a change owner, right? You would put this button the same way you would have on the account that I just showed you, but it is available on cases, not available on accounts. Some objects don't allow you to reassign from the list view. If you do want to mass reassign accounts, the reason there is there's a lot of things that happen when you reassign accounts. So mass, let me do mass. There is a mass reassign, mass transfer. There's a mass transfer records feature, and you can mass transfer accounts. And so when you transfer accounts, you can say, for example, transfer all the accounts from Bob to Crystal, and also transfer the opportunities, the cases, keep the, so there's a lot of options that go with it. It's not just as simple as, oh, not you, Crystal, Patrick, So if you want to mass transfer accounts, use this instead.
All right. And did you get Tom's when I was on radio silence? Did you get Tom's?
Yeah, here we go. So back, the path page loaded. For you, it had been 20 seconds. For me, it's a special thing. All right, so I'm going to give it a name. Tom's, or no, this was Ash. Ash's path. I think it was Ash. Pick your account or pick your object. All right, which record type? Because they all have different fields. But notice, I can just pick any pick list value I want. I could have picked account type. I could have picked region. I could pick industry. It wouldn't make sense, but Salesforce won't stop you from picking a bad choice. Or you can pick Ash's pick list. And there are all the options I just put in. And for stage A, or whatever that would be, we're going to show this field and that field. And we're going to say, please do X, Y, Z. When you're in stage B, what we care about are, this field and this field. And again, I'm not spending any time on this, but you should. And even here, you can embed images in your paths. So you can actually have images. I just took a screenshot of my screen here, but you can even embed images in that path. And again, you can change it for each stage all the way through. And then when you're done, that's it. You can even have a little confetti launch if you want. That's kind of cool. If you'd like to enable confetti. So when the deal's done, You can have some confetti happen every single time. Sometimes, not that much, but it's up to you. And that's how you do it.
And did you get, so early on, Tom had asked about kind of what would be the best way to display the progress of an account through the sales process, and that's kind of related to this. So did you already touch on that with him? Okay.
I would use a path to display where any record is in a status, in a process, and how you create the path would be like this. So I hope.
Okay, all right, nice. Let's see, okay, this one's from Jade. When you view users, the user detail page, is there a best practice for page customization? So for sales reps, they want to see the territory region field. For a support user, I don't want to see any of their custom fields.
So I'm a little confused about the question. Is it the actual user page itself that you're asking me about, or are you asking me about best practices for certain groups of users like sales and service or something?
She's asking about the user's detail page.
Okay, so just to be clear, I hope, please stay close to your keyboard there, but you're saying when we go here to the user record and you see a random user here, Andrea, for example, this page, you're asking me about best practices for this page?
Yeah, she's saying the user page itself.
Okay, so this one, okay. I don't really have any best practices here. You can edit the user page layout. It's just another object. And you can edit the page layout. I don't really have a best practice here for you. I'm sorry. I can't think of anything that you should know. I would really just recommend making it a little bit more organized than I've done here. I never really pay attention to it. Yeah, sorry, short answer, no best practices I can think of. If you have a specific question or problem, I'm happy to help you tackle it, but just make it look the way that's relevant to you and get rid of the clutter, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to be flippant. I don't know what I would say. Yeah.
Okay. This is Anne. Is there a way to design your page layout to have a section load as closed automatically?
Automatically collapsed or expanded.
Yeah.
No, what this does is it remembers the last time the user did it. So I just close these three things on a case, and now I go look at a case, and they're all closed. And when I leave it open, and I go back and whatever, and I look at another case, it's open. So it remembers what the user prefers, not what you say it should do every time.
Okay. All right. On a Lightning page, is there a way to link to a file or a library stored in Salesforce files?
Okay, well, so on pages, there is a related component for files. You can just drop the files related list, but that's just the files for this record. That would be like just the files on the account or just the files on the, like attachments. If you want to link to anything else, sure, link to it however you like. I'd probably just use that little rich text component, right? And just put the link here to library and put it right there. But there is no like document repository component. The closest one I can think of is the knowledge component, because a lot of things, documents people want a lot of times are really knowledge articles or like help articles. So you can embed your knowledge articles on pretty much any page. And so a rep could be on the opportunity page layout, search the knowledge base and find an answer to a common sales question or something. But no, you can't just put your entire document repository here. You could link to it using rich text, or you could just have the related files on this record here. Okay, we've got 1 or 2 minutes left. I think I'm going to get kicked out of this room here at the top of the hour, so I'll try and keep going, but I might have to close this up real quick.
All right, this one's from Suzanne. She says, my coworkers like to see a custom field from the account page on the opportunity page as well.
Yeah.
She says, as opposed to clicking on the account name on the opportunity page, and then, she says, is this doable? How do I go about doing this?
Super doable. We do this all the time. So you got two choices. You can either do that related record that I showed you, where you just put the account widget right there in the sidebar. And in this demo environment, I actually have an example of this. I'll just show you very quickly. The other one is a formula field. You can create a formula field on the opportunity, and the value of the formula field is just some field from the account record. So you can create a field on the opportunity called account billing address. And you basically just tell it, go up from the opportunity, go look at the account, get the billing address, and show me that value. So you could do that, or you could do something like this, where you have the account details and the contact details displayed right next to a record. It's more than just a field, and they're editable right here as well, which is kind of nice. But your call. If you just want to see fields, and you want to see a field like the contact's phone number, for example, or the account address, those could be formula fields. Yep.
Okay. We good?
I think so. I'm not seeing anyone lining up and giving me the stink eye. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me just say goodbye. So if the people do leave, if I have to shut down, at least I get through the final steps. But I'll stick around for a little while.
Okay.
You should all know we've made enhancements to our web store. Check out this QR code to go straight to a video that shows you how it works. But this is a nice way to just see what products you have, your contract, what you're paying for it, adding on licenses, logging a case for help, finding contact info for your sales rep. We want to make it easy for you, and I think this video will help you see the new changes that have just come out. Also, every Tuesday, every Thursday, it's me and Crystal doing something. Usually our audio works. Coming up on Tuesday, we're doing an office hour where I answer your questions the whole time. And then on Thursday, I'm going to do a what is Pardot introduction to Pardot. So if you don't know what Pardot is, it's a marketing automation tool. I explain it and you get to play with it. All right, thank you all for coming. Have a good day, but I'm going to stick around. Yeah, no one's kicking me out, so I'm going to stick around and help finish this up. All right, what else do we got, Crystal?
Okay, Raji's asking, okay, will the search option work for particular contacts in the cases raised? So for example, can I search for a case or email sent to a contact X based on a case subject line, and it searches only the cases sent to the contact X and not all the cases in the inbox?
Okay, so now we're talking about search filters, really, right? So if I were to search for a case, maybe I'm going to search for something. There's a couple ways to do it. One, I don't really need search necessarily. I mean, if you know what you're looking for and you're very specific, you could just make a list view. You could just make a list view, right? Or you could say, I know it's a billing issue, but it's a billing issue that has to do with a particular, a particular name or a particular thing. You could search the list, or you could even change the filters on the list right here, okay? And the last one would be something like, I don't know, 1164. Okay, but here's the case, but maybe you didn't know that was the right case. When you click into the cases, here is where you can further refine down by different fields if you wanted to. But there is not I'm on the contact record, I'm looking at Sudhir's record, I go to his or her related list and filter just this down even further. Well, actually, I guess you could from here. Yeah, that's probably, so you can do it from the list view, you can do it from search, or this is probably what I would do. Let me find one with a record in it. You could go to Lauren's record, and let's say go to her cases, view her list of cases. So these are all of her cases, and then from here you could filter down even further. So that's probably the way you'd want to do it.
Okay. All right, this is from Jag. How do I link Gmail emails to the chatter tab in an account during a sales cycle?
So emails can get logged to Salesforce by using the Outlook or Gmail plugin. And we have some other options, but that's what happens. And then when those records get logged, they get logged into the activity feed, not necessarily the chatter feed. Okay, I don't even know if I have the chatter feed on here. Let's see, is it Number Social? I don't even know if I'm having it. Yeah, so in your case, it would go under the activity feed. That's where emails show up.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, this one's from Amy. How do you reassign territory from one rep to another?
Okay, so that's not really a page layout question. There is no simple concept. There's no simple way of doing that. We have a feature called territory management, and I recommend just getting comfortable with it. It's not a simple just point and click. It is point and click, but you need to get comfortable with it and how users are assigned to territories. So I would recommend checking out the territory management rules to see how territories are assigned, how they're assigned to people, and how you change it. It's a little too complicated for me to answer quickly while I'm wrapping up. It's a whole topic.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a standard way to do it like this, and then we actually have a product like a mapping product, and the mapping product can let you actually draw territories, or it can divvy up records automatically based on geographical location. So lots of ways of doing it, but I would say please look into our territory management feature.
Okay. Rashawn is asking, is it possible to modify the home page on setup screens? For example, the list view of recently accessed objects.
No,
Okay.
you can't really modify setup, really. Nope. Setup is our screens for you, not your screens for your employees, you know? So most setup screens you're not modifying.
Okay. Megan would like to know if you just could quickly review how you changed the fields in the recently viewed lists.
Okay. So if we want to change the fields on accounts, I'm going to go to the account object. We're going to go to the search layouts section, and I'm just going to change these fields. So I'm going to add phone number, and I'm going to get rid of billing info. Hit save. And now when we look at the account page, there's phone number and no more billing info. There you go. That's how you do it. The search layout.
All right, here's a good one from Jerry. He says on the lead page, should I use path to display the sales rep close scripts as a closing aid?
Depends on how long your scripts are. If there are if it's bullet points, sure. Like, hey, talk about timing, talk about decision making. If it's something like that, sure. I mean, I don't see a problem with having some guidance. But if it's a script, I don't feel comfortable saying the script, like a big script, would make sense there. It's not meant for that much text. We have if you're really doing call down lists with scripts, we do have a feature called high velocity sales. It's a product. You have to add this on, okay? But the idea here is, let me just add these 3 people for example, and I can add them to a cadence, all right? And I'm going to say a call. So what this would do is, for the lead record, I go to my work queue. I'm a rep. I have to call these 3 people. When I click to dial, my phone will dial. I'm going to hang up. The phone will really dial. The record really does pop up automatically, and the script also pops up as well. And I can minimize the script, still do things with the record, you know, move things around, look around, pop the script back open. So this might be a more robust way to do what you're trying to do. Or you could even just real easy, you could just add a rich text component to the page, put your text there, maybe put it behind a script tab if you want, and have it only show up at the right stage through component visibility. So yeah, lots of ways to put the script on the page. I just don't know if I'd put a ton of text here on the side. I mean, play with it, see what you think, but I think there are other ways that would probably be smoother.
All right. Jill is asking, so on the accounts lookup, is there the suggestion list to display any other field besides the account name?
I see. So I've got this contact. I've got a contact, and this contact record is related to the account, and so the account name is showing up, right? No, it will always show the record name. Lookup fields will always show whatever the name of that other record is, and you can't say, like, for example, show the account number here instead. No.
Okay.
You could also have the account number show up, right? Is that formula field thing we talked about. You know what? Someone asked about it and it takes 2 seconds, so I'll just do it real quick. But so I'm on the contact record and you want to see, like, let's say the account number, or you know, you're on an opportunity and you want to see something from the account. You create a new field. It's a formula field. and I'll call it account info because why not? It's text because I'm showing text, not a number or a percentage being calculated. And I'm going to pull this info. What text is it going to say? I could just type in stuff and it would just say that, okay? Or I can say go from the contact up to the account, traverse the account, and go get the account number and put the account number here. And that's it. And you could do that with many fields. You could do that with one field, but I'm just going to hit next, 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 and save this field. It's taking its time here. But that's how you do it. That's really it. What else?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Josh is saying, I added fields to my search layout, but they aren't populating. When I click the record, I have the fields. I have the fields filled in. This is all on a custom object.
Okay, but sorry, before I get there, by the way, here's the account, here's the account info formula field from the account, right? 86686. And when I open up the account, if I knew where the, if I had the account number field handy, well, if I changed it, you would see that the account number would have changed here dynamically as well. All right, so someone has a search layout, edited the fields, and they're not seeing it.
Yeah, I added fields to my search layout, but they're not populating. When I click the record, I have the fields filled in. This is on a custom object.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by not populating, and when you click in, they're filled in. That's I'm sorry, I'm just confused by what you mean.
Yeah, so
you search for something, fine. Custom object or what? You search for it. You come here, and what? The fields are empty here.
Oh, you know what? No worries. He said it just took a little time for the stuff to fill in, so he said it was just a matter of waiting. So we're good. We're good. That's great. Love it when that happens. Okay. All right. So Joel is asking. He says he was asking the previous question about the kind of the accounts lookup. So he's saying, let me rephrase again. So on the suggestion list, while typing on lookup field, is there an option to display fields other than the account name?
So I'm here and I'm typing for accounts, right? Like Ohana. You want to see something other than the account name, right?
Yeah.
In here. Okay.
Yeah.
So no, the name of whatever record will always show up. But in here is the compact layout. So you can click into the search and then add any other fields you want using the compact layout. So if you do want to see account number or I don't know, whatever it is you care about, you can put that in the compact layout or the search layout. You can put it in the search layout and it'll show up here. So use the search layout if you want it to show up when you're in a lookup field, okay? Otherwise, once it's selected and you hover over it, this is the compact layout. So this is the compact layout, and when you're doing the edit and you're actually searching, this is the search layout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Rashana's asking, can I add a new tab to the activity component in addition to log a call or new task?
Good question. Yes. So what these are, these activities that you see here, these are actions, but these are actions that only create tasks, emails, or events. All the other actions show up at the top of the page. So if you want to add or change these actions, you do that as if you're adding or removing any other action. So I'm going to go to the page layout and I'm going to go to my quick actions or my lightning actions. And I'm going to go down here to my lightning action section. And notice they're all just one big bucket of actions. If I remove email, if I remove log a call, if I remove edit, okay, I can just remove all of them myself here, right? And I've got a lot in here. You don't need to worry about it. And then if I hit save and I refresh this page, you'll see that the activity actions are different now. See that? No email. And if I go back to my page and I add email, I grabbed it, wrong thing here, grab. If I can grab it, there we go, grab email, what am I doing? There's something, there you go, grab, no, that's weird. I'm just gonna refresh the page. But if I were to grab email and drag it back down, it would work. So that's how you do it. you go to the lightning action section, you drag and drop email wherever you want, quick save, refresh, and notice we got new task, new event, and then email, right? But if I go back to that page layout and there's new task, new event, a bunch of other stuff, and then email. So if I move email between new task and new event and quick save, you'll now see that some of those actions, right? Look at some of the actions. Start conversation, call, new task, email, new event, new opportunity, okay? So if I go to the contact, start a conversation, new opportunity. So some of those show up here because they're not emails, tasks, or calendar items. All the emails, tasks, or calendar items show up here, but they're all actions. Okay.
All right. Question here that I'm not sure if you covered early on, so I wanted to make sure. This one's from Amy. She's asking, so each change you make to a field, do you need to assign, so each change to a field, do you need to assign to a profile? If I make a global change, does it make changes to all profiles?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just not understanding that question.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so you did cover that. Yeah.
Well, I responded with, I'm not sure I know what you mean. So if there's more color,
okay.
But like, what's a global, be more specific, please. Because what's a global change to a field? I don't know what you mean. That's all. Sorry.
Okay. Yep. Okay. All right. I think it was resolved. So I think we're good.
Cool.
Yeah, that is, let me look. That is,
oh,
yeah, that's all we got.
Only 46 minutes of questions? I took me longer to answer questions than it did to actually present the whole thing.
Yeah, there you
I don't know if that means that it was so poorly explained that there were that many questions, or people just got excited about it. Well, look, I would appreciate if you could just take a second, fill out a survey, and let me know if this was helpful, and let me know how you'd like me to do things better or different next time. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for bearing with us through the audio issues. Usually that works just fine. But anyways, thank you all for coming. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekends, and I'll catch you all on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.